Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here for some Friday afternoon yoga practice. And if you're watching this at some other time that's not Friday afternoon, welcome to you as well. My name is Jessi. I teach and volunteer with Hands to Heart Center. This is the Friday afternoon Unwind yoga live stream in partnership with Boston Public Library. And I'm happy to be here guiding a practice for all of us to share together. Hands to Heart Center is an organization that provides the healing practices of yoga and mindfulness to populations across Greater Boston with a real particular focus on people experiencing trauma of some kind. And Hands to Heart Center has gratitude for Boston Public Library in partnering on these Friday afternoon live stream series classes. So welcome. Today we will be spending our whole practice on the mat, so either in a seated or lying down position. There's nothing specific you need. If you like to use certain props or have things in your space, please welcome those in. Blocks can be useful. There's nothing that requires it. However, there'll be times during the practice where I'm using blocks. They help support my body. I've also got a blanket around. It can be used as a way to bolster the hips. And again, not necessary, just something you like. And blanket's not necessary, really. If you're wanting to use a support, any kind of fabric, towel, squishy sweatshirt, really, you can make use of a lot of things. We'll start in a seated position. We'll spend some time grounding ourselves. That will lead us into some breath work and movement. And we'll have an extended relaxation at the end of our practice. That gives you a sense of the mat. And our work today our movement work will be happening in the hips, pelvis area. So being gentle and generous with our whole bodies with some specific focus on the hip area. So we'll start seated. You can come into any position that feels uniquely comfortable for your body in this moment. If you can, prioritize being symmetrical and having an elongated spine to the extent that your body supports that. It can be wonderful. And I led last week's class, which was November 12th, 2021. And at the beginning of the class, I spent some time outlining different ways to sit and different supports to use. So if that is interesting, it's available by replaying that session from November 12th, 2021. And so for today, if it's possible to elevate your hips slightly above your knees, I'm sitting up on some blocks, symmetrical position with the body to the extent that that's possible for you. We'll just land here, a deep breath in through the nose, and a sigh out through the mouth. Go ahead, take another deep breath in. Really fill up with air. At the top, take an extra sip. Hold for just a moment, and release. Sighs and sounds definitely welcome here. Inhale. Really fill up with air, sip at the top, hold for just a moment if you'd like, and then release all the air. Navel moves towards spine, air squeezes out every molecule released from the body. And here, option. You'll have many options throughout the practice. The first one being to just let the breath move naturally. The body knows how to breathe and support itself. You can just let that happen, let it be. Or if you'd like some deep, slow, elongated breaths, you can start to draw in slowly in and out through the nose, filling the body and releasing the air. And so throughout the practice is yours. You have the agency to make whatever choice is going to be suitable in your body. I'll offer various options and points to enter into the practice, and really you are always completely in charge and free to modify, change, adapt, upgrade, downgrade, whatever supports you. You know best. So as you choose your way to breathe, either naturally just following the body's rhythm or more intentionally and deliberately drawing slow inhales through the nose and releasing gently through the nose as well, you'll just start to bring the attention and focus to the breath. Eyes can remain open. You might gaze softly downward or let the eyes glide closed. And just follow the breath with your mind's eye, your attention, for a few cycles. And trace the breath's pathway in through the nostrils and then out through the nostrils. You might notice the speed of the air as it comes in and out, or the temperature, moisture level of the air. And as you notice these things, it's complete observation, like data collection. There's no analysis. There's nothing you're rooting around trying to find a certain speed or tempo for your breath or anything that you should be looking for in terms of temperature, feeling in the nostrils. What you find is less important than the noting, being with, and observing. And knowing that the breath is there to support you and will continue whether you're letting the body breathe naturally or you're intending to have the elongated breath cycle. You can widen your attention and we'll start to notice our body sitting here on the earth, upright and hugged down by gravity. You might feel the parts of your body that are coming into contact with another surface, the yoga mat, the ground, whatever you're sitting on, perhaps hands on the lap or hands on the belly. What parts of your body are connecting with another surface? And then we'll widen the attention even more to notice specifically the hands, the palms of the hands. The qualities that you might notice there in your skin of warmth, coolness, moisture, dryness, tingling, numbness, whatever there. Again, it's completely welcome, just an observation. Attention glides to the soles of the feet. With many of the same inquiries, what do you notice here? Contact with fabric, contact with air, temperature. Tension or ease or something else. And what can you explore in the region of your face? Is there space between the upper and lower teeth? And if there's not, you might invite the jaw to unhinge slightly so that you can feel some more space. How do the eyes feel? The brow? And finally, how does the whole body feel? This field of sensation that moves from the crown of the head all the way down to the tips of the toes. the inside of the body, the outside of the body, all the dimensions. All that your body carries and feels and represents is welcome. All the emotions and feelings in your heart are welcome. All thoughts and beliefs that you carry are welcome. Your full identity, parts seen and unseen, all is welcome. You are fully welcome here in this practice, in these moments, in your body. Take a deep breath into the nose, sigh it out. Take another deep breath in, maybe slightly longer or slightly slower, or both. When you've reached your inhale capacity, release completely. One more deep breath in. And release all the way. We'll take a moment to invite in some form of appreciation or gratitude. If there's any adjustments you want to make to your posture that will help you feel more alert, more comfortable, feel free. Sometimes I like to take one or two hands towards my heart area to help me cultivate this sense of appreciation. And cultivating gratitude can feel wonderful for some people. And it can also feel like looking at gratitude shines the light on all the things that we may not appreciate or that may be difficult or may have friction for us. And so there's a full range of responses from those two extremes of really enjoying to really resisting and everything in between. And invite you to enter this practice in the way that feels best for you. And what sometimes is helpful to me is to think about that in my completeness as a human, I, just like everyone else, have all the positive and all the negative feelings within me, and no feeling is more justified than another, more worthy, more important, more salient than another. And that I have all of them. So looking at gratitude, while sometimes it feels like it shines the light on the darker places, can be something wonderful and supportive to cultivate. So we'll spend a few moments exploring that. Knowing that any moment that we put ourselves in a positive state does have benefit and nourishment. And it is in balance with everything else. It certainly does not cancel out challenge. It does not cancel out areas of our life that where gratitude doesn't exist. So as you rest here, fully present, start to bring to mind something that you have some amount of appreciation for. Entirely up to you. This may be large or small. Something you like, something you enjoy having in your life, a person you admire, a favorite pet, a sunset, the smell of a delicious food, a memory, an aspiration. Really anything that in some way brings you uplift. If many things are percolating to the surface, you can choose anyone. And if not much is percolating, that is totally fine too. You might notice one area of your body that feels safe and comfortable in this moment, and that can be plenty. Or a memory, Or simply just feeling that you're here. Whatever this experience or object that you've chosen is, see if you can start to animate it, let it come to life in your mind, recalling the details, seeing it clearly, bring it close in. Whatever you've identified as something that you can appreciate in some amount, and bring it forward, let it unfold, let it develop. Allow its presence. And with curiosity and a spirit of kindness, we'll look a little bit closer at this object of gratitude. And as you notice it in front of you, how might you describe this? What is the event or the memory, the person, the animal, colors? What are the thoughts or narratives, words that go along with it? What is the best part of it for you? What is it that you like? What benefit does this bring to your life? Why are you grateful that this is part of your existence? You might think about the best thing about this, or what is it about this gratitude that brought it to the surface for you today? And how does it feel in your body, in your cells, somatically, when you're thinking about this? When you're bringing to mind this appreciation, how does that feel? How might you describe that? There's sensations in the body, thoughts in the mind, emotions that come forward. And if there are, let those really be present and let them even start to radiate outward through other parts of your body. So these points of vibrance exist and radiate within you. You might imagine whatever positive states or associations you have with this gratitude, letting them get larger, letting them feel enhanced, and that you're basking in them, they're glowing around you. And as you experience in your body this sense of this gratitude, this benefit, you can start to let the specifics, the images, the words start to dissolve and fade away. And so the object of your gratitude starts to dissolve. And we just rest for a moment in the presence and the residue of the feeling. In a sense, we're installing and practicing and letting our body get used to what it feels like to be in an appreciative state. If you've had your hands in your heart space, you might bring them down to the lap again, or to another comfortable resting spot. And just on your own, take 3 cycles, deep, slow breaths. And at the end of your 3 breaths, any adjustments you'd like to make in your posture, or if you'd like to change your gaze from eyes open to closed, or the opposite, feel free. If you've had your legs crossed, you might change the cross to the opposite leg is in the front. And we'll start to gently roll through the pelvis. So you'll think about moving the pelvis and the hips forward, the spine starts to arch. And then if you were tucking from the tailbone and curling back so that the spine gets rounded, pelvis comes forward, chin tucks slightly, shoulders come forward. So we're just rocking gently forward and back. Your breath might move smoothly, and if you want to coordinate it with the motion, you can inhale as you roll forward and exhale as you roll back. And as we start to bring this motion into the hips and pelvis, you'll just move at a speed that feels comfortable for you. You want to feel as much as you can, like you're gliding, smooth. And so if that is a quicker movement or a slower movement or a combination, these are all really great options. I'll take a few more of these rolls. And then the next time you have come forward, so the spine is arched and you're forward on the pelvis, you'll start to tilt yourself to the left and back, and then up through center on an inhale. This time we'll swivel to the right as we roll back to arch our spine, sorry, to round our spine. Come forward, inhale, and arch. And exhale as we swivel to the side. Inhale through center. Exhale to the other side. So this is a type of figure 8 movement where we're still going back and forth, and now we're adding these rotations to each side. So you'll inhale up through center, the spine arches, shoulders come down, chest lifts. And then as you exhale, the spine starts to round as you curve to the side and find yourself in center. As you exhale to come forward and arch again. Repeat the motion to the other side. Shoulders are relaxed. Breath is smooth and steady. And we'll reverse this. So the next time you're forward with the arched spine tilted forward on the pelvis, take a breath in here. And then exhale to send yourself back and now to the side. So I'll start by going to the left. Swivel forward and back. Swivel to the other side. So as we come through center, we go from front to back, and then the side takes us from back to front. And this brings some motion and mobility, lubrication into the pelvis and hip area. And starts bringing our attention there as well. This is a very core central area of our body. It's also an area that can hold a lot of tension or stiffness from staying stationary throughout the day, from the cooler weather that we're experiencing. So we'll be working from all ranges and sides of our hips today. So the next time you come through center, just simply pause here. Notice how you feel. Notice the effect of this stirring in the pelvis area. And if you've been sitting on something, you can go ahead and remove it, and very gently, we'll come into a tabletop position. So your hands are directly beneath your shoulders, your knees are beneath your hips. Spine is long and steady, as if you were to place a cookie sheet on top of it, it would be completely stable. I think about pressing in through all of my hands, the palms, the knuckles, the fingers, and then through my shins and upper feet. And this helps create some stability. It helps me keep the elongation in my spine. I'm just going to move from side to side. So the hips move horizontally from one side to the next. I keep my navel tucked towards my spine for support of the lower back. My gaze is straight down in front of me between my hands. And breath moves smooth and steady. If you'd like to coordinate the breath specifically, you might inhale through center and exhale as your hips go to either side. Coordinating the breath with the motion can be really soothing in that it gathers the mind and the attention. It can help if you feel like you have a lot of busy thoughts, or the opposite, if you're feeling kind of lethargic or spaced out, it can help gather attention. It also creates a nice rhythm that is soothing for the body and the nervous system. And from here, you might just start to send the hips back around to the side and slightly forward, making gentle hip circles. And as you do this, you'll notice the exchange of weight between the hands and the feet and the knees. And if you might change directions. And here, if there's any other movements that are calling to you, perhaps wiggling the shoulders around or bringing the head into it. Really anything goes here. You can bend the elbows, look from one side to the other. So lots of freedom to just see what your body would feel like doing for the next, say, 4 or 5 cycles of slow breath. And after your next exhale, you'll come back to a stationary position in the center. So wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, fronts of the feet on the ground, gaze between hands. And just pause here for a breath. Deep breath in through the nose. And sigh it out through the mouth. From here, we're going to gently come up into a high kneeling position. And then take the hands to the hips. For now, you might also just rest them down by the side, whatever is more comfortable for you. And I'll be taking my right leg and moving it forward so that both my knees are at a 90-degree angle. So my right leg is extended in front of me. The heel is right beneath the knee. And my left leg is behind me. The knee is right beneath the hip. So everything that's touching the ground, I'm pressing slightly into maybe 10% of a press into my right foot, into my left shin and front of the foot. Thinking about tucking, dropping the tailbone down, lifting from the sternum, and crown of the head reaches up. So to create some nice elongation. Here you might be feeling a bit of a stretch in the left quadricep, the left hip flexor, the front of the left leg. And so if you are feeling a bit of a stretch, you might choose to stay. If you're still looking for some more sensation, you could continue to tuck the tailbone, perhaps even press through the buttocks a little bit to increase the stretch. And also option to bend forward and back slightly. So my hips shine forward on the in-breath, and then I come back to basically central position. So increasing the stretch that I feel on my left side, as well as just bringing some mobility and motion into both hips. If you'd like to add the arms, sweep up on the inhale and back down, fingertips point to the ground on your exhale. And so these are pretty subtle movements, not going too far forward and then just coming back to center. Option again to continue with this or any of the previous stages. If you would like a little bit more, you can take your fingertips down to the ground, or this might be a point if you have blocks to let them support you. I'm going to step my right leg about 6 inches forward. So now I have more than a 90-degree angle. And as I inhale, my hips will tip forward, my tailbone drops, sternum lifts, gaze lifts. And as I exhale, I'll send my hips back. My right leg starts to straighten any amount. Gaze comes forward, looking down at my right foot. So inhale, a lunge forward, a gazing up, feeling the stretch on the left side and hip flexor and quadricep. And exhale, both hips evenly, symmetrically send back. You'll move through this pulsing at your own pace. So there's a slightly brisker movement, helpful for you. Does it feel like it's creating some lubrication, some warmth? Or do you want to go really slow and glide? Completely up to you. Stay connected with the breath and stay connected. And the next time you are forward, so the front leg, the right leg is bent, both hips are forward, fingertips, if you've been using blocks, you could continue to, or you might put the fingertips on the ground. Option to stay here, or if you'd like to lift up the back leg, so the left knee straightens, the toes curl under, the heel reaches back. Here I'm thinking about pulling my right hip back while I'm extending my left hip forward, and this helps to create symmetry and just keep balance. So keep the breath moving smooth. If you are here with the left leg lifted and extended, I should say the knee is lifted, the foot is still on the ground. You might, on an inhale, lift up the fingertips of the right hand, following with your gaze as the arm lifts into a twist, and exhale to lower. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale to lower. Inhale, reach up, gaze up. And exhale to lower. Let's do one more. Really pressing through the right foot. Press back through the left heel. Inhale to lift. Gaze up. Exhale, lower. Left knee can come down. Right knee can head back to meet the left. Palms can walk forward as the hips send back into a child's pose. So in child's pose, you might have the knees touching or the knees apart. Palms of the hands are on the ground, reaching forward. Forehead can come down to the ground if that works for you. Feels good to wiggle from side to side. You can do that. Maybe even move the head slightly in like the shaking the head no position. Maybe a deep breath or two feels good. We'll just pause here for a moment. And the thing to notice is there anything you can do to feel more comfortable? Is there anything you can do to feel more soothed? And in this last moment, in the child's pose, in this resting place, take an inhale. And as you breathe in, bring back that thought of gratitude, either the feeling or the object of gratitude. And keep it close to you as you exhale. Inhale to lift the body up. From here, if you're using blocks, you might have them on each side of your mat. You're going to step the left leg forward this time. 90-degree angles between at both knees. So left sole of the foot is on the ground, heel directly beneath the knee. Right knee is directly beneath the right hip, front of the foot on the ground. Tailbone tucks, sternum lifts, gaze lifts. Hands can be down by the sides or on the hips. And again, this is the first stopping point. If you're feeling some sensation on the right side, the hip flexor or quadricep, more than an option to stay here. And if you'd like to squeeze the buttocks forward and send your hips forward a few inches and then come back to center, you can add that in. So inhale as you come forward and exhale to return. And you might take the arms up on your next inhale and exhale to come back to center. Arms come down, fingertips point towards the ground. Make sure all points contacting the floor are exhibiting a little bit of pressure. This helps create stability. And if you'd still like to continue working into the front of the hip and quadricep, you can take your left foot, step it forward about 6 inches. Fingertips can come to blocks or tented fingertips on the ground. And again, we're continuing to rock and pulse forward and back. Breath in as we come forward, breath out as we come back. Choose the pulsing speed that works best for your body, as well as the range of motion. Of course, you might continue with this or any of the other steps that we've done. If you'd like to try the deeper lunge, the next time you come forward and the left leg is bent, hands can be on the ground or on blocks. You'll press into the left foot, you'll hug the navel back towards the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Tuck the toes of the right foot as you straighten the knee and it lifts off the ground. Left hip is moving its way back as the right hip presses forward, straight through the knee, the right knee to the extent possible. And we'll take that twist. So on the inhale, the left arm reaches up. Gaze follows the fingertips. Exhale, return. Move at the speed of your breath. Inhale to lift into the twist. Press into the ground. Reach up through the fingertips. Exhale, lower. 2 more at your own speed. And when you've returned, the right knee can bend and come to the ground again. Left leg steps back so that knees are underneath the hips. You have the blocks and want to move them off to the side. You'll send your hips back again into child's pose. Take any movements that might support you for the next 3 or 4 breaths, or remain in complete stillness. And on this next breath, again, bring that feeling of gratitude, that sense of appreciation that radiated throughout your body. Welcome that to show itself, if it would like, in this moment. And on the next in-breath, you find your way back up to tabletop. And from here, send the legs to one side and then extend them out in front of you. This can be a really nice place. We'll have the legs extended out in front of us, spines upright. If you'd like to elevate the hips a little bit on a block or on a cushion or a piece of clothing, totally optional. You can feel nice. So long spine, gaze right out in front of you. And what we'll do from here is take the right leg, bend the knee, and step it over the left leg. Sit up nice and tall, both sits bones, those 2 bony structures in your buttocks. Both of those are touching the ground. You might take the hands, clasp them together, and hug that right knee into you a little bit. If you'd like, you can take the left arm and snuggle it around the right knee so that your elbow hooks around the knee. Straighten the spine. Right arm can come behind you. And we're not going to twist all the way around and move our head. So our head is still, looking diagonally to the side. What we're really doing is hugging this knee in so that we can then feel a stretch from the back mid-ribs all the way around the side into this outside of the hip. So the hugging motion is a little bit more important here than the twisting so that we can really bring the attention, bring the energy in the body to this outside of the hip. Deep, slow breaths. And gently start to loosen whatever grip you have. Spine aligns. Right leg returns to center. If it's helpful to pulse through the legs for a moment, feel free. Reset your posture so that both feet are extended out, legs straight, spine elongated. We'll move to the other side. So here the left knee bends, sole of the foot steps across the right leg. Clasp the hands in front of the knee or hook the right arm around so that the elbow is outside the knee. Spine twists part way. I'm about a quarter of a turn from center. And I'm really focusing on keeping an elongated spine, really hugging in that left leg. So stretch moves from bottom of the ribs on the back, through the side, down into the hip. Breath moves slow and steady. And if you notice the sides feel different, this is a very common experience, even though many of us look symmetrical. What is going on inside the body isn't always as symmetrical. And so very common for one side to feel very different or to have mobility that is not matched with the other. For me, I can feel I'm able to just squeeze my left side in less. However, the stretch feels more intense. It feels like more. Just a moment longer here. See if you can elongate the spine slightly. If you'd like, squeeze even a little bit more in. And start to unwind the spine, release the grip, and return the legs to both in front of you. From here, you might walk the feet in, bend the knees so that the feet are a little bit closer. And we're going to bring ourselves all the way down on the mat. So you could roll your way down. You could also prop yourself on your forearms and just gently move yourself down so that the spine is touching the mat. The gaze is up straight above towards the ceiling. You can walk your feet in a little bit. So feet are roughly underneath the knees, although it's a bit hard to see when you're lying down, so just go by how you feel. Take the palms of the hands and place them face down so arms are resting by your side. Pause here just to notice your new relationship with gravity, your new spatial orientation. And if you'd like, invite that sense of gratitude to trickle its way in one more time. We'll take a very micro, very gentle movement coordinated with our breath. So on the in-breath, our lower back is going to peel up off the ground ever so slightly. The tailbone kind of like curls underneath, so there's some arching right at the bottom of the spine. And on the exhale, we're going to release so the spine presses slightly into the ground, and any space that was between the yoga mat and the spine gets compressed. So breathe in, the spine arches slightly. Breathe out, the whole lower back kisses the mat. So this is another version of those pelvic rolls that we began our movement with. And this time we're just doing it from the supine position. So inhale, the hips lift slightly, the back arches, and then exhale, everything returns. And as always, there's options. So you might continue with this, just rolling around on the lower part of the back with the breath. And if you'd like, on the next inhale, you might also lift up the hips slightly. So you're coming an inch off the ground and then lower down with your exhale. Inhale, peel 2 or 3 inches up, and exhale to lower. So with each inhale, gaining a little bit more height, very gentle bridge postures. And if you'd like, continuing to add that height, moving closer to a bridge posture. Again, you're regulating and choosing your movements based on what you can stay connected to, what feels good in the spine. We'll take 3 or 4 more rounds. Inhale as the body moves away from the mat any amount, and exhale to return. And the next time you lower to the ground, stay here. Pause for just a moment if you can before making adjustments or movements. Just notice. Notice whatever it is that you feel. All that you feel is welcome. All of it belongs. And if you'd like, hug the knees into the chest. You can take your hands and wrap them underneath your knees as you bring them forward. You can wrap the hands above the knees. If you're someone who likes the happy baby posture, you might take it now. And for those of you looking for instruction on happy baby, it's taking the sole of the foot in your hand and bringing the knee towards your shoulder or armpit. You do that on both sides. So any one of these postures where you're bringing your knees in closer in supine position is completely welcome. And if there's something else you have in mind, go for it. If you'd like to rock from side to side or make small circles around your sacrum, those can be really nice, like self-massage moves. Stillness is always wonderful. And be mindful to keep the breath moving smoothly. And gently release the legs. And if you feel ready to move into a rest position, you can take what is most comfortable for you. Traditionally, this can be lying on the back with the legs extended, knees straight, the arms extended up to the side, the elbows straight, eyes closed. You might also put the hands in the belly. You could also bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Perhaps from there, let the knees fall into each other. So let the knees touch each other at the center of your body. But rest can have many variations on this. It does not need to look like a classical yoga posture. Rest could be on your side. It could be curled up in a ball. You could resume child's pose, lay on your belly, even sit upright. The priority is that you feel completely comfortable. You feel safe, and you feel at ease. You feel like you can let be. So as you find this posture, take a deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out through the mouth. Let the muscles soften and relax. Let the body be heavy, the weight of the bones, the density of the muscles. The space that the fluids take up. Everything in the body as if it were melting into the ground, 100% supported, nothing there's left for you to hold on to. And your aspiration is purely to let be, soften, and relax. You might gently scan the body and notice if there are any areas of holding or tension that could soften even just a little bit, and invite them to do so to have even more comfort and even more ease. If you're in a space where you have the availability and opportunity to continue resting, please feel free. If you're in a position where you'd like to transition forward to move on with whatever activity is next for you, you might gently start to deepen the breath. Notice your surroundings. And taking great ease and care to come up to a seated position. And this is a position that you'll just need to sustain for about half a minute. And bring as much kindness and gentleness into this transition as you can. As you arrive seated, option to keep eyes open, gazing downward or closed. Option for hands to be on the lap, on the belly, or on the heart. And take a moment one final time to cultivate that feeling of gratitude. And sprinkle onto it a sense of appreciation for your time today practicing, for taking some time to care for yourself, whether it was enjoyable or challenging, whether it felt easeful or sticky or anything in between. Take a moment to appreciate your experience for being true for you and alive. Appreciate all those pieces of your identity, seen and unseen. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Extra sip at the top. Sigh it out. Release the hands. Eyes may open. And this concludes our practice time together. Thank you for spending time with me and with Hands to Heart Center and Boston Public Library. Again, my name is Jessi. It's a pleasure to share time together today, whether it be in real time on YouTube or in later time on the playback. Thank you. Take good care.